Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wealth and Wellness Network, the show that empowers women to reach their greatest income potential using wellness practices that promote prosperity. My name is Letitia Johnson, and of course, I'm your Wealth and Wellness Network host. I'm so excited today. If you're just joining us for the first time, you are definitely in for a treat. Although my co-host Lala is off today, I have a phenomenal woman who is going to blow your socks off. She's a successful businesswoman, and she also has a lifelong mission to help empower women. So I'm so delighted. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to this phenomenal woman. She's a serial entrepreneur, creating a millionaire network before her mid-30s. She started her journey as an international dancer. Later, then she created her own dance fitness certification, and now is the owner and founder of Diva Girl Incorporated, which is a lifestyle community that educates and empowers over 13,000 plus women in Canada and also the United States. She has also been named Canada's top young entrepreneur of 2010, and her brands has been featured in numerous media outlets. So it is my distinct pleasure to welcome my friend and my mentor all the way from Canada, Laura Furtado. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for the introduction.
No problem at all. So I know you're super busy, and I really appreciate the time that you took this to spend with us. Just curious, where are you right now as we speak?
Yeah, great question. I'm from Toronto, but currently I am in Vancouver, BC, in British Columbia. So I do currently live in Vancouver, but I also do spend half of my year back out east in Toronto, where I am from. So currently on the West Coast.
Awesome, awesome. So as you all can hear, she's a mover and shaker.
That's for sure.
So let's start by telling our audience why you are so passionate about helping women reach their greatest potential and how you got started on your journey.
Yeah, so I started my entrepreneurial journey about 12 years ago. I did go to business school, so I got my Bachelor of Commerce at the Western University, Ryerson University in Ontario. And from there, I decided to follow my passion about what I loved to do, which was dancing. So I did go into corporate, into marketing at the time, but I also started to do what I was passionate about, which was dance. So I started a side business, which eventually became a full-time business, and me leaving corporate and going full-time into entrepreneurship. So my whole mission throughout my journey was about creating an ambitious, powerful woman that I wanted to become. And through that, I created a community, Diva Girl. And currently, Diva Girl is a lifestyle community that educates and empowers women. And the reason why I decided to create this brand and this community was because I knew how hard it was to start my own business when I started about 12 years ago. And there was really no support system or circle or people that I could look up to or collaborate with. So I wanted to give back and help women with the support and education that they needed to start their own businesses from the lack of support that I received on my journey. So I wanted to give back and help people so they were able to enter entrepreneurship in a more fulfilled, collaborative way.
Awesome. And I just want to piggyback off of something you said. There was a key word that you mentioned a few times as you were elaborating on your accolades, and it was the word create. Mm-hmm. And on this show, it's all about helping women, specifically entrepreneurial women or executive women who are working towards building a better business or a lifestyle for their families. And a lot of times we tend to seem, the feedback that I get is that we're overwhelmed or there's that glass ceiling. But you said create. So you actually can create your own destiny and your own type of lifestyle, and how you were able to do that, and some steps that some of our audience can take.
Yeah, so in corporate, because I was in corporate for about 5 years, you are definitely limited to what you can do. There is a structure, there are rules, there are criteria, rules, responsibilities, and positions and ranks that you need to climb. So when I was in corporate, I started to realize how much harder it would be for me to create the income that I actually wanted. So that is actually why I decided to become an entrepreneur. There definitely is potential for you to create as much money as you want, but also keeping in mind that it requires a really good plan. A lot of the times I see a lot of women creating things because they're passionate about something, and women are really good about being creators and coming up with big ideas, but it's extremely important to make sure that there's a monetary value of how that idea is going to generate funds, which is all about the money. So yes, you can definitely have great ideas, but I think it's very important to have a plan in place about identifying your streams of revenue of how you're going to make money and what you're going to do in order to get there. In regards to my businesses, I did a lot of research about ways, that business models make money. In my business, there's about 20 different ways that I make money. It's not just one. And I think you do have the opportunity to be creative about identifying these streams, but you need to really make sure that you have a really good plan of how you're going to execute that.
Awesome, awesome. So, and speaking of being all about the money,
Yeah.
let's talk about how you managed to become a millionaire and what were some of the steps that you took to build, especially at such a young age.
Yeah, so two concepts that are really important about millionaire status. I actually had studied and worked with quite a few millionaires, and the two concepts that always come up is duplication and leverage. Once people understand what those mean and how you can actually get there, that is how you create more money. In order for you to build wealth, you need money, and money builds more money. So, there's the quote that says, money is the seed of all money. That is so true, because once you have it, it is that much easier to make it. So when I first started my business, I did have a goal to be a millionaire by the time I was 30. And I did that through a variety of ways. It wasn't just through my business, it was also through real estate, investing, and trading. So those are the three ways of how I make money. And I trained myself on how to be a savvy investor, how to trade, and use my funds, in which I worked really hard in my first 5 years of business, to create that and invest it properly to create more money. Because I had a mindset of creating, I guess you can say, residual income versus linear income. Linear income is how most of the people operate. There's about 90% of people are either employees or self-employed, but it's very few, small percentage, usually the 10% of people are business owners, meaning that they own this system, or number two, they're an investor, which is they use their money to make more money. So my goal was to get into the fourth quadrant, which was an investor. And that is pretty much how I built my wealth. And I continue to do so now, because once you have a really good starting point, it is that much easier to generate more money.
Awesome. And let's talk a little bit about something that is not as tangible, but can really impact your income potential, and it's mindset. I heard you say millionaire mindset. So could you elaborate on what that is and how your wellness and your mindset was able to impact your income?
Yeah, so my mindset is crucial. Most people actually stop at the first phase, which is the money management component. Not being able to understand or manage inflows, outflows, living paycheck to paycheck, not making money to invest, just making money to spend, which is considered deferred spendings. So money mindset is massive. It is extremely important, but you need to get past the first stage, which is money management stage. In regards to money mindset, millionaires think in a different way. They think about doing something great, like meaning contributing to society, versus just executing or having a job. They focus on being educated versus being entertained. They think in increments versus singly. So they think about how can I make my, my first 1,000 versus an hourly wage. So they think in chunks. They think in terms of using other people's money to make more money, which is the leverage. And they think in systems, creating ways that you can duplicate yourself to create more wealth versus doing all the work yourself. So those are some ways of how millionaires can train their mindset to allow revenue to flow towards you. If you think you will not have enough money, if you think you can't save money, if you think you will never have money or you don't know what to do with money, then you will not generate or attract wealth. That pretty much is where it will stop, and why about 90% of the people stop there. You have to train yourself about thinking abroad or seeing the bigger picture, which takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of training, and it takes time. So everyone can definitely improve their mindset, but it really comes down to how bad do you really want it. And a lot of times people can't conceptualize the possibility, and that's where they struggle with in regards to mindset. Reading books will only get you so far. You have to implement practices that will help you improve your mindset over time.
Wow, this is just so good. I hope you're really listening, women. This is awesome, ladies. So let's talk about some steps to help our listeners get there, because everything that you're saying is obviously the roadmap, but what steps can we take in order to walk in this direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's only two ways to generate wealth. You either spend less or you make more. There's possibly no other way unless money's coming from the sky, which you should never rely on. So you either need to focus on how to increase your wages or spend less. Unfortunately, we live in a society, and like I live in Vancouver, which is the most expensive city in our country, in Canada, and it's really hard to have a good standard of living with the low income. So finding creative ways of how you can spend less, which can always be a challenge because we always want more. And the wanting comes from, advertising, all these different messages putting out there. But we really need to think about, do you really need a car? Do you really need that extra pair of shoes? And that is a lot of discipline. And I know that when I started my journey, when I started my business, I was extremely frugal for about 6 years. I still consider myself frugal, which is the craziest thing, because I know how hard it is to make money, so I don't lose it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So you need to either make more money or spend less money. In regards to spending less, the first stage is you need to really pay off your debt. So if anyone has debt, that should always be a first priority, because the interest rates that you pay on your debt load will tend to be higher than the interest that you would make in something that's invested. So if you have debt, that should always be a first goal, because you cannot generate more wealth if you have debt. The second thing, once you kind of get rid of your debt, is that you need to increase your savings potential, which is the money that you have left over each month to put away for savings. Now, when I say savings, I don't mean saving for a rainy day or to build your emergency fund or to save money for a wedding or a trip that you're going to take, because that's different spending. You need to save money to invest money. Is to build an education around it. Investing is a great tool, but a lot of people don't know how to invest or how to get started or what tools or what securities that you can engage in, because investing is how you can get your money to make more money. And there's a variety of different ways of how you can invest, but you need to buy assets. And a business is an asset, but buy assets that is going to generate funds. And that is what investing is. So getting an education is another great tool or tip of how you can get your along your path.
Wow. Wow. You heard it first from Laura. This is some great stuff. So, Laura, we know you're a mover and shaker. So, what's next for you?
Um, so what's next? To be completely honest, I've actually, for the first year, I've actually calmed down a little bit. My 2017 and 2018 is all about transition and to enjoy a little bit of what I've been working on. So I'm actually not growing anything in particular other than just bringing in new leaders to our communities through Diva Girl or Sexy and Wealthy in Heels. But I actually have started to introduce some programming for women, specifically around money, money management, trading, investing, and all that kind of fun stuff. So I've been running those events specifically in Toronto, but we also have some ones coming up online, which is great because a lot of people outside of the Canada area has been approaching me to teach them about money management and trading. So I do have a few webinars coming up, but eventually my goal is to actually create academy for women to do that. And another big goal of mine is to actually create scholarship funds for my nonprofit initiative, which is Divas Abroad, in which we educate and empower women internationally. So those are my immediate goals of the next little while. And yeah, I'm just looking at working with women, building new leaders, and helping educate females as well.
Oh, wow. Amazing. We'll absolutely make sure that we put out that information so others can get involved. And speaking of Diva Girl, can you tell us a little bit more about the different pillars that you have and how our listeners can get involved?
Yeah, so Diva Girl is a lifestyle community that educates and empowers women. We have a presence in Toronto, Philadelphia, and we will be launching in Montreal. And we run events, seminars, conferences, masterminds that helps women along their path of entrepreneurship and overall lifestyle success. So if women are wanting to get involved, they can visit us online at divagirl-inc. And our events are representative in our 6 pillars, which is fitness, entertainment, beauty, entrepreneurship, fashion, as well as nutrition. So we definitely have a well-balanced lifestyle for the average woman to be engaged in.
Awesome, awesome. And how can our listeners get involved or learn a little bit more about Diva Girl?
So they can visit us online at divagirl-inc, and it has all our information about our upcoming events or how to get involved as a member or as a leader. They can also just Google Diva Girl or visit us via Facebook at Diva Girl Toronto or Diva Girl Philly or Diva Girl Montreal.
Awesome. Diva Girl is a amazing organization. I'm actually a Diva Girl business affiliate, and I'm actually the featured Diva Girl of the month of May. So
That's awesome.
yes, you definitely want to be involved, especially if you want to grow professionally and build long-lasting business relationships as well. It's a great opportunity. So make sure you check that out. And how can we also get to know you a little bit more, Laura, and be able to follow you and see some of the things that you have going on personally and professionally?
Yeah, so my other organization is sexyandwealthyinheels.com, and we do money and business seminars for female entrepreneurs as well. So you can visit sexyandwealthyinheels.com or visit us on Facebook. Or alternatively, you can visit my personal website, which is just my name, laurafurtado.ca. You can also find me on Facebook or just message me, and I can send you more information about things that I'm personally hosting. I'm really focused on the financial literacy education for females at the current moment, and I've been enjoying it. And I think women are getting super engaged and interested about talking about money and investing and trading, which is a good conversation to have among the female population.
All right. The wonderful Laura Furtado, the amazing, successful, sexy business successful person that I know. I love Laura, actually. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. This was phenomenal. I just love Laura. I've learned so much from her. I really appreciate you being on the show today, Laura. And to learn more about how you can become a part of the Diva Girl community and learn a little bit more about Laura, make sure you follow her. That information will be in the show notes. Well, that's all the time we have for today. For past shows, make sure you visit www.healthandwellnessnetwork.com and join us next week and every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same place. Until then, have a productive week. See you soon.